I've always thought that there was one particular brother once that I was able to witness his transformation. So he went from someone that wasn't practicing at all to practicing, I'd say practicing in inverted commas, but a very kind of, he took on that very literalist kind of approach where he was telling, like telling you to grow your beard, things like that, right? Which is fair enough because you can't really say that's wrong. And then also choosing not to come to certain events because he thought there was free mixing there, things like this, right? Which 2 weeks ago wouldn't have mattered at all. And then there was that incident that kind of stuck with me, and I still use it as examples now because I feel like that was the critical juncture, and that happens to a lot of people. If you get them within that time period where they're kind of just, they've suddenly transformed and they've got that youthful zeal and energy and enthusiasm for the deen, right? If they get tutored by someone or they become friends with decent people, Muslims, good kind of Muslims, they'll go down a certain path. But if they fall into the hands of someone that's maybe not as good, or someone with kind of more these ideas that can be harmful, whatnot, then they're in the danger zone of kind of slipping into that.
So then this is again something that I think we should have done something. We should have done more, I think, looking back on it, because I feel like it is dangerous, isn't it? Because if someone is left to their own devices in that situation as well, you're looking at a time where I think the YouTube echo chamber phenomenon, I guess, in a way, or the sort of social media phenomenon was sort of starting to come into proper effect, where once you have your mindset and once you have that online, then that's it. That's all you're ever going to see. You're never going to be approached with different viewpoints. You're never going to be approached, or you're never going to have to sort of. And I think that's where, if you know, then it's up to you to sort of. Because at the end of the day, I think. So my view is anyway that sort of diversity makes it better. There are different opinions, and there's nothing wrong with that. To say that one opinion is, and that it's there to a certain extent. Like obviously, that the four madhabs are the four madhabs, and there's nothing wrong with the four madhabs. You can be one madhab, and you don't have to. So you can't, because I've met people that say, okay, one madhab is right and the other one is wrong, and it's like, but it's like there's some that sort of you need to sort of appreciate the differences between, I guess.
Come across someone that you feel is kind of in a danger zone in terms of going down, mixing with the wrong crowd and getting dangerous ideas or whatever else, right? I think a lot of it, try and boil it down to like the psychology of it. A lot of it is deeper issues like traumatized past and stuff. Oftentimes there's a big transformation involved where they've suddenly decided that they want to become the best practicing Muslim that they can, right? So they suddenly jump ship, and there's a massive identity change in it. So they suddenly become the practicing guy. They suddenly become the guy that's like, visibly the Muslim guy, and he's going to be strict in everything. That causes a massive kind of psychological crisis for them. But in a way, I think it's the same appeal to get rich quick schemes. I'll tell you why. Because it's like you're getting promised from zero to hero. These ideas like, oh, we can go to a different country and fight or whatever else. It's like you're being promised to go from your current status of like nothing, and you might be neglected at home, and you might not have been loved or whatever else. Then you're getting promised of like this tribe of people that are like lifting you up as like the brave hero, like this guy, he's the crazy one, he's going to do this, and then that builds them up. It's like a get rich quick scheme, because think about it, if you believe it completely, you think you're going to go to paradise if you do this thing. It's like, what the heck am I doing here? I might as well just it's quick paradise. It's that same psychology, isn't it?
I mean, that's throughout history. I mean, you could go back to Crusades, and it's the same sort of principle where live a life of sin and go Crusades, and you go to paradise straight away. But I think it's a bit more than just a get rich quick scheme. I think you're looking at sort of young guys, and I think this is more for the guys as well. It's more, in my opinion, it is more sort of for men. I think, actually, no, that's not true. I think scratch that. I think it is both men and women. I think at that age, 18 to 19, 21, you're moving away from home, you're going to university for the first time. There is a crisis of identity. There's a massive crisis of identity. And that in that crisis of identity, it's what fills the void. And what fills the void is whatever you can find online. And it's fundamental. I think for me, it's that. It's like, obviously, you've got the get rich quick scheme. So this is answering you. This sort of option is giving you the quickest answers. It's giving you sort of the biggest hope. And it's a very dominant thing online. So it's a very easy thing to find online. They're not finding anything else there. I mean, they are, but it's like, what's shouting loudest? What's giving you the most? It's the get rich quick schemes. It's the best marketed.
Yeah,
money is that I think everyone has that sort of crisis of identity, especially if you're coming from a sort of British Asian or British African or British, if you're sort of coming from that background where you're not exactly British, but you're not exactly from back home. You're not exactly, and you come in and you're a Muslim, but you're not exactly a Muslim because, there's so many different types of Muslims. So then who are you? What are you? Where do you fit in this world? And I think that's a normal question for anyone to have. Where do you fit in this world? Who are you? And you're right. It's like, if you go on and if you look for something, you're going to be naturally attracted to the get rich quick schemes because they're the best marketed.
Yeah. But then I was also thinking about how even in this situation, I think this might have had an effect, right? So this particular incident that I'm talking about is that a way of addressing it is, one strategy that they use is the otherization of everyone, right? So it's like everyone else is weak. They do this, they don't have the courage. It's the underlying kind of message there is like they don't have the courage to do what we're going to do, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
To like be like us and we're going to do this and that. I think if you pair these people, so in an ideal world, you'd psychologically assess them, right? And you'd pair these people with true worshippers, like true abid, like, people who, because then what will happen is their underlying assumption that they're more practicing or they have more zeal for the deen and they have more courage to practice it, right? That gets attacked in a kind of peaceful way, basically, because if they're paired with someone who's legitimately practicing, and I'm talking on the level of like voluntary fast, tahajjud, going to the mosque in the morning, and they're also on it in terms of everything else, manners, things like this, that person will have the realization sooner or later that this person, he's pretty on it and he doesn't have these same ideas that I have. So
I don't know if I agree with that. I think if you've got someone that's entrenched in that belief and you pair them with someone that's a true, like, even if you put him with the imam of a mosque who lives by those ideals, or even if you put him with an imam of, like, put him with Mufti Menk, or put him with like the sort of imam of the sort of the Kaaba.
no,
Like,
that's different. That's different because they'll otherize them easily. I'm talking about someone like an ordinary kind of person, but
like the
like a
ordinary.
proper.
So I was saying that the local imam of the mosque, the ordinary guy, sort of living life, or one of the guys that's regular at the mosque or whatever. I think they'll just have their. I don't think that they'll change their minds very quickly. I think for them, it's not about their belief. They're like sort of more closer to Allah or whatever. I think you're right. It is a get rich quick scheme. I think in that regard, then you're sort of going against your point where you say that these people, they're sort of attracted to that. They want quick justice and they want to be better in it. They want to show that they're better than who they are. Because if you're showing that you want to get rich quick and you want to be better than everyone else, then it doesn't matter what the person does. You have to justify your point as being better.
Yeah, but
so showing someone that is like, really strong on deen, then they're going to say they're not doing enough for deen because they're not willing to give their life for deen.
No, that's where I kind of disagree, because that's where I was going to finish with my kind of analogy, is that after they'd realize that if this person practices Haifa was the right thing to do, right? Like, let's just assume it was like a international scholarly verdict that would never kind of happen, but let's just say it does, right? They know that this person would be the first to do it, because if they're willing to struggle this much, they can't match them. Like this, think about it, it's this newly practicing kind of guy who's got these fanatical ideas, and he's paired with someone, and he sees them, befriends them or whatever else, right? He's paired with someone that's literally like proper, like he can't match him in terms of like worship and in terms of learning about the deen, and like he's be sending him WhatsApp messages at 3 o'clock when he finds a new quote and stuff. So sooner or later, this fanatical guy, he's gonna think, damn, this guy is on it. So why is he not doing it? If he's willing to like sleep 4 hours and pray and stuff, why is he not willing to? And then it'll cause this cognitive dissonance.
I think you're giving him too much credit. I think if you're that young and if you've got that sort of belief entrenched, I think, this is me just being candid, I don't think a lot of people have, I don't think they're going to critically think like that. I genuinely don't think that. I think if you're already entrenched in that belief and you have your mind set on that, then I think you're going to use anything to justify it. I think it's the same way, like it's hard, like in this current age, how hard is it to win an argument with a left wing or a right wing or whatever, because their views are entrenched. It doesn't matter what logic or whatever you use, there's always going to be a shifting of the goalposts. There's always going to be a shifting of the goalposts.
I guess it's a numbers game. You're not going to get everyone. You're probably not going to get most people. You'll get a minority, I guess, which is better.
You'll get a minority. I think in today's age, it's very hard to logically win an argument. I think it's very hard to change someone's mind through arguing or through that. I think it takes a lot more than that, and it takes a lot more sort of extreme. I don't know how it would be. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not offering a solution. I'm not offering.
Yeah, neither was I. I was just kind of just running through something I've been thinking about. Obviously, these ideas with podcasts, sometimes what people have to bear in mind is they're not necessarily, you're just kind of thinking as you speak kind of thing, right? But